Now, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is Mr. Shakespeare with you on the last day of February, 28th of February, 2025, joined as usual by psychic medium and remote viewer Liz Cross. How are you doing today, Liz?
I am doing well, better than the markets. How are you?
Yeah, me too. Yeah, the markets are not good at the moment, so we're gonna try and do an all-encompassing wrap up and find out what's going on, why, when, and everything else. So we'll start with Donald Trump, the 47th President of the United States.
Okay,
Is he aware of any of the, have you got, Sonia, have you got contact with him, please?
I do.
Oh, good. Um, that's probably a bit early for him in the morning, but
No, no, actually, what time did you wake up this morning? Uh, President Trump, what time did you wake up? He wakes up at like 4 or 5 o'clock. He's up early, raring to go, full speed. Um, he doesn't eat much in the morning.
fair enough. Okay. Is he aware of any actions that him or his government is taking that's affecting markets in general? Because they all seem to be going down.
Are you aware of any action that yourself or any of your associates are taking to manipulate the markets and the markets are down? No, this is totally unusual, he says.
Okay. Is he or any of his associates manipulating the crypto market, specifically Bitcoin, so that Bitcoin will go down?
Are you or any of your associates targeting or manipulating the crypto market, in particular Bitcoin, so that Bitcoin will go down? No, we got lucky. Mm,
Was he aware?
listen to that answer.
Was he aware that his coin drained a hell of a lot of liquidity out of the what we call the alt market? I mean, the alternative, everything other than Bitcoin.
Are
Was he
you
aware?
aware that your Trump coin drained a lot of liquidity out of the alt market? Yes, he's fully aware.
Okay. All right. Um, okay. Can we just hold him there?
Interesting. Sorry,
Go on.
I have to ask. Okay, he's fully aware, but how do you feel about that? How do you feel about your coin liquidating or taking the liquidity from most of the altcoins or a lot of the altcoins into your coin so that people could make money? It's business, is his answer. Okay. Now, the problem is, I don't think the money's gone back into the altcoins, has it, Mr. Shakespeare?
No, it hasn't. No.
Okay, so let's ask him. The money hasn't gone back into the altcoins. How do you feel about that? Again, he's very frank about it. It's business.
But he's almost like he's insider trading. I mean, he's not, but he is against his some of these coins. Um,
Mm,
okay, let's just hold him there for a minute, and I
okay.
want you to grab. Oh, where is it? Investing.com.
Okay. Investing.com, yes.
Okay. Why is the market? Why are all the markets generally crashing?
Why are the markets generally crashing? People are putting their money in cash reserves.
Why are they doing that?
Why are they doing that? Too volatile. What is too volatile? The outcome. The outcome at the moment is not certain. So people are putting their money in cash reserves.
Okay. All right. Let's just all right, just hold them there. Let's go back to Trump. Okay.
Mhm.
Does he have any plans to default on the the Treasury payments? Sorry, the US Treasuries which pay a dividend, an interest payment. Does he have any plans to instruct any government agency to default on those treasuries?
Do you have any plan to instruct? Sorry, give that to me again. I'm sorry.
Right. So through anything that he does, his actions, words, whatever, thoughts, deeds, executive orders, does he have any plans to instruct the Treasury to default on the debt? In other words, the treasuries that are outstanding that we spoke about before, they pay an interest payment. And so there's been some rumors around that he's going to instruct, them to default on that. I can't see why personally, that's my own personal opinion, but we got to ask the question.
Do you plan to default on any of the treasuries? And is that the right place to ask?
Well, he doesn't plan to default, but is he going to ask, the Treasury Department or any other government agency to instruct to basically not pay their debts? That's the point.
Are you going to instruct the government to not pay their debts? No, we have to pay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
No, that's his personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions this morning, the last day of February. Those personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions can change.
Well, let's put him out a month then. Put him out to the 28th of March.
Okay, March 28th, 2025, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Okay.
Have you instructed, has any government department been instructed not to pay the debt, the US debt, the treasuries?
Has any government department been instructed not to pay the US debt, the treasuries? No. Now, this prediction has come from a remote viewing group. Okay. And
Okay.
somebody wanted me to double check it. They don't believe it's going to happen anytime soon. I think that what they were believing was going to happen, or what they got in their remote viewing data, was that towards the end of this year, the US will default on these payments. And what that does around the world is it sends the world into a spin, because they buy our treasuries, our bonds, and then we have to pay them.
Of course.
And that he is going to create a digital currency because of this. Now, the price of gold is going to soar. That he was going to create the digital currency that was going to be backed by gold.
Okay. But yeah, okay. Well, let's just put investing.com out till the 28th of December 2025, please, Liz.
Okay, so investing.com, December 28th, 2025, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, what would you like to know?
Has there been any US government default on their debt? In other words, they're not paying the payments, the coupon payments on the treasuries that are outstanding.
Has there been any US government default on their debt? No. Now, I've got the founding fathers here. I like to use them as a backup.
Okay.
Are we going to default on our debt? Okay. I'm getting somewhat of a yes. Okay. I don't know how to question it from here, but I am getting somewhat of a yes.
Okay,
What do
well,
you mean?
I mean, as of the end of 2025, has the US defaulted on its debt?
As of the end of 2025, has the US defaulted on its debt? No, that's a no.
Okay, well, if we've got the founding fathers and they're in spirit, let's put them out till the end of 2020. Let's just ask them at the end of 2026, has the US defaulted on its debt?
At the end of 2026, has the US defaulted on its debt? No. Is there a new currency, a new digital currency, or anything that is now backed by gold. Now, yes, I'm getting this is changing. This is still in the works.
All right, let's just ask one more question then, because the end of the fourth turning is generally regarded at the end of 27. 28 is the first stage. So let's ask the founding fathers, has the US defaulted on its debt as of the last day of 2028?
Has the US
2027, 2027, sorry.
2027. So by December 31st, 2027, has the US defaulted on its debt? No, that would be political suicide.
Exactly. I mean, there's no need for them to do it. And as I said to you off camera, I don't know where people get this. You know, every other country in the world will default before the US ever does.
Right. If the US defaults, what they're telling me
The
is
world
that
crashes.
it
Yeah,
could create a war, actually, because
yeah,
we owe so much money.
yeah, that's right. And the US, as I explained to you, the US Federal Reserve, which is, not federal, hasn't got any reserves, but has the ability to create elastic money unlike any other central bank. It literally can print to oblivion. So whatever the debt is, it can cover it. Yes, it'll be high, it'll be massively inflationary, but it can, make any bondholder good. So if it needed to. So no, I don't. I mean, I don't know where these people get that from. I didn't believe. I mean, it's just if you'd have said, a country in Africa or Venezuela, it's gone bust many times. One of those. Well, yeah, okay, I can believe that. But the US, no, no, I don't believe it. I didn't before we started. So, and I didn't on the Discord when somebody mentioned it the other day. I put something up about it. So, okay. Right. Let's ask another indication. What's the price of gold now at the end of 2027? Is it higher or lower than the $3,500?
The price of gold at the end of 2027, is it higher or lower than $3,500? It's higher.
$4,500?
Is it higher or lower than 4,500? Is it higher? Is the price of gold at the end of 2027, December 31st, 2027, is the price of gold higher or lower than, I'm sorry, 4,500? 4,500
$4,500 per troy ounce, yes.
per troy ounce. Is it higher or lower? It's lower.
Okay. So, that's 50% roughly over what it is now. And that could just, I mean, gold has always been the canary in the coal mine for the fiat financial system. And so that just could be, matching inflation in the last 3 years, 25, 26, 27.
So what I'm getting in, and you'll have to explain this, Mr. Shakespeare, is that people are holding money in cash reserves, high interest savings account, because their goal is to make money. And they just need to grab interest wherever they can. And right now, it's safer to hold back, pull your money out of the market, and put it in a high interest account until this blows over. So you're still making something on your money.
Right.
That's what I'm getting.
And what are we still out at the end of 27 or are we talking end of 26, 25 or now? What are we talking?
I'm talking about now. That's what I'm getting for
So
now.
there's a lack of confidence then. People are worried about the volatility. If they go to cash or interest-bearing cash accounts, it's because they're worried. And they're normally worried not that the prices are going to go down of stocks and bonds and investments and ETFs. They're worried that they're going to go down, not up. If they were, I think they were going up, they'd be in them, wouldn't they?
Are the investments going to go down? I feel like we're in for more. It's going down.
Right. So what we need to find out, Liz, is what what is panicking and freaking the market and the people out that, because it once somebody starts selling and everybody, starts making noise about it, then everybody starts selling. It works the opposite when everybody buys as well. But, what's panicking everybody? Is it Trump's policies? Is it war? Is it the Middle East? Is it China? What is the sentiment? What is the market sentiment that are making people nervous, that wants to want to sell their assets for cash? Let's ask the founding fathers first, please.
What is the market sentiment? It's fear. I mean, there's a lot of fear, but what is causing that fear? It's Trump tariffs. Okay. The Trump
Mm.
tariffs are causing the fear. Mostly, if you were to break it down by percentages, the majority, it's the Trump tariffs. Because other countries are fighting back and they are putting tariffs on and putting tariffs up. People are uncertain as to where this is going. Does it have anything to do with all the job losses here in the States? Yes, that is another factor that's going on. So for those of you listening outside of the US and you haven't been able to catch the news, there has been a lot of job losses here in the US, specifically with within the federal government. Um, so is that, but that's not what is really guiding and controlling the market. It is the tariffs.
Okay, but I mean, all right. So let's take the tariff. Let's take they want to put 25%. Okay, well, that's inflationary because you put 25%. It's the end user, it's the consumer that pays it. And so then the countries retaliate by putting 25%. All they've done is just raise prices by 25%, which of course then becomes inflationary. But on the other hand, less people can afford to buy things because, if you were paying $10,000 for that car and now you're going to pay another 25%, which is $2,500, because, it's always the person at the end of the line that pays. Tariffs, I mean, okay, it makes the goods more expensive, but it's the end user that buys the goods, not the importer. So all he's
Okay.
doing is if he's putting tariffs on everything and the world responds by putting tariffs on everything, and let's take 25% as a benchmark figure. All that's going to happen is price is going to go up by 25%. How does that help anybody? Let's go back to Trump.
Okay.
What is the purpose of putting tariffs on basically the world?
What is the purpose of putting tariffs on the world? To create a more fair America, is what he said. What do you mean by that? We pay more than our share. We are being bled dry. We are bankrolling other countries, other companies, he says, and what else? Foreign governments, what else? Foreign companies, foreign investment. We're bankrolling the world. Now, that's how he sees it, his personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions.
Well, there is an element of truth of that, but then one way of dealing with it is just to stop bankrolling it, cut the spending, don't fund the war in Ukraine, don't do these things, cut the military bases everywhere in the world. Why America's got like 800 military bases in the world. Why does it need that? Bring them all back. Save money.
Why don't you cut the funding and save money in other ways other than tariffs? It's also a bit of a bullying tactic, is what I'm getting. We need to show them who's boss, is what I got.
Okay, but does he not realize that reciprocally everybody will put tariffs now back on America? It'll just be inflationary.
Reciprocally, that everybody will put tariffs back on the US. Yes, that's exactly what I want them to do. I
Okay.
don't know why he said that.
Oh, I don't know why he said that either.
Well, let's ask, what do you mean that's exactly what you want them to do? Okay, so we stopped buying goods outside of the USA. There you go.
Okay. All right.
But in order to stop buying goods outside of the USA, I'm asking him, in order to stop buying goods outside of the USA, these goods have to be made within the USA first, right?
Right.
That's the plan. So this is part of his plan. He's planning on bringing it back into the US. The manufacturing, so you're saying basically the manufacturing of goods, you want to bring that back into the US. That's exactly what he's doing. And you believe that you can do this with the tariffs, the tariff wars. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Well,
It
they
may
have
not make a lot of
tariffs
sense.
Yeah, tariffs have been tried before by America and they didn't work. Um,
Tariffs, let's ask him. Tariffs have been tried before by the US and it didn't work. I agree. He just agreed with you. So why do you think that your tariffs are going to work and opposed to when it's been tried before? It has to work. Why does it have to work? Because we've got to save America.
okay. Um, what can I say about that? Right. All right. Walmart buy all their stuff, most of their stuff from China. China's manufacturing costs are so much lower than the US. If you just take the Walmart chain, if Walmart had to buy everything from the US, those prices that they do would not, they wouldn't be anywhere near that. Even if you bear in mind, offshoring was done, I think, by President Clinton, first of all, where, companies were encouraged to offshore all the production. The shareholder value went up temporarily. Americans lost their job and all the manufacturing went to China and now you're trying to bring it all back. How are you going to? I mean, you can't compete with China. Not on mass marketing and mass production. Just can't be done in America. Not enough people.
Okay.
Just can't be done. Also,
Okay.
does he understand that we are at the end now of the industrial age? We're in the information age. Manufacturing perhaps is not the most important thing for America.
Let's ask him. Do you understand that we are now at the end of the industrial age and we are in the information age? Yes, he's fully aware of that. So why do you think that reviving manufacturing is going to be the way forward? It is he's very like short with his answers. It has to be done, but why? If we are no longer in the manufacturing era, why do we need to bring this back into the USA? Because it makes sense. Like, I'm not getting very in-depth answers here. What do you mean it makes sense? Do you think that people are just going to buy those goods anyway? Absolutely. And so you think that are you focused on the necessities that are, that people buy, or are you focused on, the luxuries or the extras that people do? Okay, he's saying necessity,
Well, I
particularly
mean,
with
certain
car
things,
manufacturing.
food and things like that obviously can all be manufactured in the US. That's easy. But to try and manufacture the trinkets I use Walmart as the example, cheap clothing, cheap products, cheap everything. They buy, container after container load from China, you know. America can't compete with that. It cannot. He cannot make America compete with that. It's not possible. What he could do is go back onto other things like I don't know, semiconductors, high-end stuff, things of more value, that the more expensive things. But to try and match China's output for anywhere else in the world is impossible, I think. You
Okay, let's ask him. Are you trying to match China's output? Are you trying to match China's output? I mean, he is in terms of automobiles, okay? Obviously, the US, we have to have cars. There's some countries in like the UK. I mean, I don't know how people survive without a car, to be honest, in the UK because the transport is so diabolical, especially in and around the big cities, but whatever. How, I like to be able to go where I want to go when I want to do it, not rely upon a bus schedule. So here in the US, we have to have a car
yeah,
in most places.
yeah,
Unless you are living in like Manhattan or wherever. I mean, everybody has a vehicle here. If you don't have a vehicle, you can become stranded.
yeah,
We drive a lot and we drive a lot of miles. As those of you inside the US, you know that. Outside of the US, maybe if you've never been here, you don't realize how much we have to drive. So he is really focused on automobile manufacturing. But then I don't understand. Let's ask this question. Then why didn't you just put the tariffs on the vehicle manufacturing and then leave it off for the other goods? Now, he just said to me, that's a great idea.
mm,
Okay. instead of blanket tariffs, why didn't you just concentrate on the things that you want to move back here to the USA? I mean, are you thinking of making semiconductors, microchips, things like that back here in the USA? Eventually, that is what he would like to do. I think that he even knows what I'm getting is that's kind of an unrealistic goal. Taiwan has the upper hand on the manufacturing of microchips, but in an ideal world, it would be done here in the US. Do you think eventually you could move it back? He's certainly going to try. Now,
Let's
did
just
you
go back
think
to
that
the automotive industry. The problem is that if he puts tariffs on it, Chinese manufacturers will just open up operations in the US. I was told that Chinese manufacturers could actually sell a car for about $5,000 new. The US can't compete with that. Even if you put 25% tariff on it, it makes it 6.5 grand or whatever. You know, it's
can the
more likely
Chinese
the Chinese are going to end up buying General Motors, Dodge, Ford, and I mean, they'll end up buying them and subsuming them. Yes, there's a massive need for cars, but because of underinvestment in the US auto industry, from their dominant position, the Chinese will just, I mean, they will take over. I mean, they just will. They can afford to sell cars that way below the cost of anything the US makes, and Europe, by the way. So I don't know where he's going with this because China will bypass the tariffs if they had to. They'll just open up plants and factories in the US. So now it's made in America.
So let's ask that question to the Chinese. Okay, I'm going to grab China as an entity. Are the tariffs hurting you? Yes, they are. And what about in the automotive industry? Particularly in the automotive industry is what I'm getting back. Will you open up automobile manufacturing in the US if we have to? So would you just open your factories here instead of having them in China? Yes. And would that be cheaper instead of having to pay the tariffs? Not in the short term.
No,
Not in the short term, it's not. So
no.
let's ask Trump this question. If the Chinese just move their manufacturing onto US soil here in the US, is that what you're aiming to achieve? Is that what you're aiming to achieve? No, no. He wants American businesses back on American soil. This is about, okay, I think I understand this. This is about American companies having India, China, Taiwan outsourcing their manufacturing outside of the USA. He wants them to come home. He wants them to pay for their products to be manufactured in US factories by US people.
Right.
That's what his aim is. He is really trying, he's not. So let's ask him this question. Are you trying to sting the Chinese? I mean, in a way, yes. But is your ultimate goal trying to move the manufacturing of US businesses back to the US? Exactly what he's trying to do. So this is more of a punishment to US businesses that have moved their manufacturing abroad.
Okay. So let's take Apple computers. Apple computers are designed in California, designed by Americans, and let's just take the iPhone range. It's all made in China. I mean, if they have to bring it back, there's a decent margin anyway in an iPhone, but that margin will be eroded if it's got to be made in the US. So if they're gonna get forced to do that, all that will happen is the price of the iPhone will go up. I mean, it'll be the end user, the consumer, the person at the end of the line that will always end up paying more for these things, you know? The problem,
And this is where
I think okay. I'm going to make one of my comments now that people love so much. Well, some people
you're
do.
very unpopular. Actually, Mr. Shakespeare, I have to give you credit where credit's due. You know, people may not like your opinions, but a lot of times, I'm not talking about the Russia-Ukraine war, but especially when it comes to financial, assumptions and financial opinions, you are usually spot on. Take
Mm.
it away.
Okay. I can't remember what I was going to say now. Hang on. What were we saying?
Well, you were saying that ultimately it's the American consumer that's going to pay, which, see, this is where I'm confused, right? First of all, the tariffs are supposed to be better for the US, but now where the stock market is going down. So people are losing so much money in the stock market right now, in the crypto market. I don't know if, I mean, obviously, eventually it will go back up, but
Yeah.
in the short term, people are losing money. So they're losing money in the stock market, but they're also losing money if the price of goods goes up. And yet his thing was to get more disposable income back into the pockets of Americans. Now, I'm going to ask the founding fathers, are we going to get a Doge refund check? Yes, we are going to get a Doge refund check. Yes, we are. So, is it going to be every taxpayer in America? At least every household. I don't know if that's going to go into every taxpayer, but I did probe this last week and I did put it on the Discord. It seems that at some point we will get a refund check. And let's ask Trump this question. Do you believe that issuing Doge refund checks is going to stimulate the economy? Yes, it will. But that's not a long-term solution here. It's like
No.
trying to find the long-term solution. If we're paying more for goods, now I don't know about anybody else out there. The state that I live in typically has very low electricity bills. Just in the past 2 months, our electricity bill has doubled, and we don't know why. Like, we're not using it more, and everybody in the area is saying the same thing. Electricity has doubled uh, since the inauguration. A water bill has gone up. I'm thinking about going solar. And even though you look at the price of solar installation and that's eye-watering, I'm like, I will find a YouTube video and I will DIY. I have no problems with that. I can see people making solar panels out of old compact discs. And if that's what Liz needs to do, that's what Liz will do. I am not paying 30 grand to put solar panels on my roof. That's ridiculous. And but anyway, I don't understand how this is supposed to stimulate the economy if we're being hit by tariffs. I don't understand it.
No. And I completely cannot remember now what I was going to say there, so we'll have to drop that one. Okay, let's move on. He just recently, yesterday I think it was, had a meeting with Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the UK.
Hmm.
Um, how did that go? The meeting in private? I mean, not the public one that was filmed, but the meeting in private. How did that go?
How did the meeting with Keir Starmer go? The guy's a buffoon, is what he says about Keir Starmer. He's a clown.
Yeah. Okay. Did he try and persuade you? Did he try and persuade America to send either troops to Ukraine or back and give guarantees for any NATO troops going to Ukraine?
Was he trying to persuade you to send more American troops to the Ukraine? I told him we weren't going to. And did he try to persuade you to send more NATO troops to Ukraine? Now that is on the agenda. Sending more NATO troops to the Ukraine to help with the peacekeeping is on the agenda.
Okay, but I think as I understand it, the idea was to send. Now, bear in mind, Russia has already made a point of what will happen if any peacekeepers go there. I mean, he really, you should be asking the Russians, not the Americans. But the idea is that you would send, say, English or French troops there to be peacekeepers, which then would be attacked by Russia because Russians have said that if any NATO troops turn up there, especially NATO troops, then they will be regarded as enemy combatants. That is exactly what the Europeans and the English want, and then they want like a tripwire. The Duran cover this very well, and the boys on the Duran cover this very well. And then the answer is that they will go back to America and say, "Look, hey, NATO troops have been attacked. You need to attack Russia." That's their plan. Does he understand that? Did he fall for it? No.
Did you understand, or do you think that by having peacekeeping troops in the Ukraine, and if any of them get hurt, that these peacekeeping countries are going to retaliate to Russia?
Well, no, they want America to retaliate. They want America to fight Russia. That's the point. They can't fight Russia. They want America.
Okay, so do you understand that if these peacekeeping troops are injured, you will be request, or there will be a request to
Article 5 of the NATO convention, yeah.
Article 5 of the NATO convention is that America now has to step. He said, we're not doing that.
Good.
We are not doing that.
Did he tell
They can
Starmer that?
take Article 5 and they can shove it, is what he said.
Good.
We are not participating in their war.
Good. Did he tell Starmer that he would not be enacting Article 5?
Did you tell Starmer that you would not be enacting Article 5? He already knows the deal. Did you stand firm with Starmer? Yes. You stood firm with Starmer? I had to. I told him how it was. And was he trying to persuade you? He tried his best, but we are not movable in
Good.
this in
So would
this
he say that Starmer had a complete waste of time, waste of a journey then overall? Because he didn't, you know, if you look at
would
what he was hoping to achieve and what he did achieve, would Trump categorize the whole visit as a waste of time? Waste of time.
would you categorize the whole visit of the Starmer coming to visit you a waste of time? It's a waste of his time, not
Yeah.
mine.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
What do you think about the UK? I mean, his personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions, right? Not mine, not yours. It's gone to the dogs. That's exactly what he just said to me. It will never recover. They don't have strong leadership. They don't have the manufacturing. I'm wondering if this, you know, hanging on, clinging on to manufacturing is just an outdated idea. But then, as we know from previous probes, Starmer tries to launch the UK. We predicted this months and months, maybe even a year ago, that Starmer would, you know, launch the UK into this information age and try to make it like a internet hub, or IT hub of Europe, and wants to make it the IT hub of the world, and it is a completely failed attempt. So all this investment that he's going to put into making the EU, or sorry, making the UK into this big internet hub, Silicon Valley replica, whatever, is going to be a total waste of taxpayer money. You know, people are fleeing the UK. They're fleeing. Those that can are leaving. They are leaving. I wonder what the count is. They probably haven't even published the count of how many people are leaving.
No. Yeah. Okay. Um, let's just grab the founding fathers again.
Okay.
Uh, let's let's ask them when in 2025 do the markets start to recover?
In 2025, do the markets start to recover? Yes, but again, I'm getting it's after the summer.
Okay, let's grab Hal Finney, please.
Okay.
Let's ask him when in 2025 does Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto markets start to recover?
When in 2025 does Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto markets, when do they start to recover? October.
Ooh, so we're in a bear market until October?
Are we in a bear market until October? He says recession.
Okay.
Now that's his personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions. So let's ask Trump. Let's ask the founding fathers. Do you classify what we're in right now as a recession? Yeah, they're calling it a bit of a recession. Yes, they are.
Right.
A minor recession, a small blip of recession, but it is recession nonetheless. Are we going to see further drops in the market? Yes, we are. Yes, we are going to see further drops. How long is this going to take to recover? It's going to take a few months to recover, gain confidence of the American people.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now,
admit the energy
I
for
haven't.
Bitcoin does not look good for the rest of the year.
Oh, on your chart. So, for those of you that are wondering what Mr. Shakespeare's talking about, he creates astrological charts, which are so on target. Oh my God, they're great charts. And so we kind of already knew that this was coming according to Mr. Shakespeare charts. He posts them in the Discord room. Amazing work that you do on these astrological charts. Now, another question that somebody on YouTube put, and I thought it was a really, really interesting comment. The fact that they're firing so many federal employees, and the question on the YouTube was, does he realize how this is going to impact unemployment rates of African Americans, the Black population? Because there are a lot of African American Black population that works for the federal government. So, is this going to create mass unemployment within the Black communities? And I think the Black communities, what I'm getting from the founding fathers is the Black communities are going to be impacted the most with these unemployment, with the layoffs that's coming. The jobs are not there to replace these layoffs. I mean, even if he puts manufacturing back into the USA, are these people that are being made unemployed, these desk jobs, accountants, maybe IT people, administrators, are they going to go work in factories? No, they're not. I'm getting a no on that.
Right. Okay. This one's gone on past its prescribed time, so we've got to wrap it up there. There may well be a part two to this one. I can feel it coming on.
All right. Well, thank you. And interesting. If those of you have questions in the audience, please drop it in the YouTube. We'll try and do a part two for you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shakespeare.